Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to some coaching with Eva this morning. Every Wednesday morning, at 9:30 a.m., I come on and share some things that I hope will enrich and enhance your life and give you some tools that might be useful in creating action steps for you to take to create a more fulfilled life. So, today I want to talk about some coping mechanisms that you may have used to deal with stress, to survive maybe some of the earlier life experiences you have, and how it shows up to really stop you from creating the kind of life that you want to create now, today, in the present, and for the future. So I just want to take a moment. I'm going to give a general shout out to everyone who comes on so I can jump straight into some of these coping mechanisms. So I call these coping mechanisms relationship styles. And what I mean by that is our childhood experiences that we have with relationships actually become a part of our behaviors and beliefs. And in response to events and people who hurt us, we use certain strategies or coping mechanisms, if you will, to protect ourselves and to shield ourselves and to deal with some of the anxiety that we experienced as a child and really didn't know how to react or respond or just how to deal with it. So we learn to play certain roles to gain attention or to reduce tension or to please our parents or to meet their needs. And over time, how we adapted these coping mechanisms, if you will, they became a part of who we are and how we operate. And that's not always a good thing. And so we developed our own, what I call relationship styles from these experiences. And these individual styles, there's 5 of them that I'll review with you today, can damage our connection, our intimacy, our interactions with other people based on the styles that we develop. So, hi to everyone who's joining now. I really appreciate you being here and coming in from all over the world. So here's the thing, guys, whether you're in a relationship, looking to be a relationship, or just want to have better relationships, you will learn how I want to show you how some of these experiences that you had early in your life shaped your beliefs, behaviors, and expectations in your adult relationships. So there are 5 relationship styles, 5 of them. And I actually did oh my God, I'm losing my words this morning, an acronym from the word style to describe each of the styles. And these 5 styles can damage your intimacy and connection and communication, especially in your relationships. And like I said before, they're formed by your early life experience. They've shaped your habits, patterns, beliefs, expectations, and behaviors. So if you want to write this down, I don't have them there stored in the back of my mind in a box. Just reading some of the comments. Sorry, distracted for a second. So, why don't you get out a pen and paper and write some of these down? So, you write down the word style, STYLE. The first one is seeks to please for S. T is tries to control. Y is yo-yos back and forth. It's kind of a push pull. I call it a yo-yo because you're like kind of up and down in your emotions. The L is you're looking to accept blame and, think that everything's your fault. And E is you have a tendency to evade your emotions, to stuff them down, to hide them, not want to deal with your emotions or anyone else's. Once you identify what your unique relationship style is, you'll develop a greater understanding and awareness of why those patterns govern how you love and relate today. So, I want to give you just a little brief overview of what they are. So, we're going to start with the first one, the S, seeks to please. Now, this style develops when you grow up in a home that has an angry, a critical, or an overprotective parent. And anxiety drives this style because you tend to focus more on the feelings of others, and that keeps you out of touch with your own feelings. So it's kind of an avoidance. Some of the traits are, if you want to recognize these in yourself, and if you recognize yourself in this, just put me in the chat. Um, you worry, you avoid criticism or making mistakes, which means you may not try as much because you're worried about criticism. You love to have praise and encouragement, and one of your greatest fears are rejection. So let's do the next one. Tries to control. That's the T in style. And this one develops when you grow up in a home with a lot of chaos, turmoil, abuse, or addiction. And your parents actually were the source of anger, danger, abuse, anxiety, and fear. And so as a child, you're growing up in this destructive, dangerous environments. And I see this a lot because people do experience some abusive behavior in their homes, and it really impacts how they show up today. You can be angry. You like to blame other people. You have jealousy, aggression, and possessiveness. And you develop this style because you had to survive. It was either control or be controlled. And a lot of people with this style end up being those bullies we hear of often in life and in school. So let's go to the Y in style, which is yo-yo. This style develops if you've experienced some abandonment growing up or some periods of abandonment. And the times that your parents truly connected with you, but there was no consistent connection with your parents because your parents were kind of absorbed in their own stuff. Maybe you had a dad who worked 2 or 3 jobs, or both parents worked, and you were kind of, I think they called it latchkey kids when my kids were little. You were always kind of left on your own, really wanting to have more time and attention from your parents, but they were just not available to you, and they were unavailable. And so this style struggles with feeling like no one understands you. Your relationships that you have a really passionate beginning, but it's followed by disappointments and letdowns when reality sets in. And this is how disappointment shows up. You may find this interesting. It shows up as anger. You're not really recognizing this sadness of your feelings, and you get angry, and you tend to focus more on the behavior of others and less on your own shortcomings. So I just want to check in with everybody. Are you finding this helpful at all? Let's see. If you're finding yourself in any of these styles so far, I've got 2 more to go to. Just put me in the chat. I just want to see if any of it is kind of like, oh, I get it. That's why, I feel angry when I'm disappointed, or that's why I'm always trying to get other people's approval, or any of that. Sheila is a me. Amber. Hi, Shirley. Hey. Awesome. Renard. Let's see if I've missed anybody. All right, let me just get through the last 2 quickly, and I'll let you guys go on your day. So the L in style is looking to accept blame. So the interesting thing about this style is it grew up in the same type of household that the controlling people do, that tries to control, that turmoil, that chaos, the addiction or abuse in the home. But if you as a child had a more passive personality, your response was more fearful and anxious and less of a controlling bullying. And so you always tried to keep the peace in the home. You always felt that it was your responsibility to keep mom and dad from their addictions or their abuse. And if you could just be good, that wouldn't happen. And you take the blame for everything because everything is your fault, because you're bad and unlovable. And so some common traits of this style is you fear being alone, and you become dependent on other people. you have a low self-esteem, you're nervous, fearful, and you tend to have some depression and anxiety because everything's your fault. And if you were good, this wouldn't happen. So you're always kind of yielding and making yourself smaller to keep the peace. And then finally, my favorite, the Ian style, which is evades emotions. Let me just get a sip of water here. So this style develops in homes where your parents were emotionally unavailable. So there was that lack of comfort and nurturing in your childhood. So you tend to disconnect. You actually have learned to avoid conflict, confrontation, um, ignoring feelings, downplaying things. You just don't want to feel because no one was there to nurture and comfort your feelings, if that makes any sense. Your parents actually loved the fact that you were independent and you didn't need them as much. So here's what you bring into your adult relationships: independence, minimal emotional needs. You don't show a lot of affection. You're actually uncomfortable around emotional people. You rarely cry. And you shut down your emotions and needs. And here's the turmoil, though, that the inner conflict that's going on. You are often overwhelmed by wanting affection and not receiving any, that you hide your needs under kind of, I don't need anybody. I'm independent. I got this. And they tend to be more loners in life. So let's see if you saw yourself in any of these styles. Let me check the comments here. Hope, yes. This is interesting. You will find traits of yourself in every style. I often liken it to university, where you major in one style and kind of minor in another. And so how you can determine what your primary relationship style is you go to my website, evamedilek.com/quiz. I actually don't have it on my website yet, but go to this link. Let me just put it in here. www.evamedilek.com/quiz. And there it should be popping up. And you can take the quiz and actually get what your unique relationship style is. Oh, it didn't go. Yeah, I think it did. Hopefully you'll see it in there. And yeah, and then you'll have a better understanding what is the primary driver in how you relate when you take that quiz. Anyway, hope this was helpful. Hope this gives you a little bit more insight into some of the things about yourself that trigger you in life, that trigger your reactions, why you may have some difficulty in your communication and relationships, or even connecting, if you will. And because in order to know to grow yourself, you have to know yourself deeper, and taking a look at how you can take responsibility for how you're showing up in relationships is the first step. It's the first step, guys. So I want to give this to you to give you some insights into that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you next week.